right, and welcome back, everybody, to Monday Night Live. We are live and direct back again. Of course, I am Mo Rock alongside Goldie and Carla. And this week, my regular co-host of this show, Dr. Natalie Forrest, happens to be doing some international travels. And we thought to ourselves, it's really hard to fill her shoes with just one person. So I have people that are going to help me co-host this particular episode. And we're really excited about this week's episode because it's the beginning of the year. And we have an incredible, eclectic group of folks and group of leaders for this week's panel that all come from a different walk of life to talk about the same subject matter. And of course, that's goal setting, and that is getting ready for the new year, and that's getting ready for 2021. And we want to talk a little bit about that. But before we bring the panelists in, Goldie, how important is it to have a plan in life? How important is it to have a goal in life? How important is it to not just aimlessly go through the motions and really have a place and a direction that you have in mind as we go and as we navigate through life and through business?
It's so important, Mo, and for the people that are listening, such as myself, that you're asking a question that I'm panicking, thinking, wow, I go through life without a plan sometimes. I'm talking to you. It's okay if you have a moment where you don't have a plan. One of the things we're going to talk about today is what we learned in 2020. And one thing that I learned is when you don't have something or a resource or you don't know, you team up with other people and you ask questions like, what's your plan? Or how are you getting to point B, point C? And that's the beautiful thing about a plan is it can always change. If you don't have one, you can get one like that the next day. But a plan is very, very important because it holds you accountable, Mo, to keep on going and to actually see success, see results.
Absolutely. Great points there. And, Carla, you and I, we talked about this, funny enough, relatively recently. So I think it's apropos for you to give your 2 cents in on this as far as, how important is it? Because, there's so many people that want to do this or want to do that, but yet they don't have a specific plan in place. So Carla, just thoughts on this week's subject matter.
Yes, thank you, Mo. Goldie, it's good to see you. You guys, I say this, I speak from experience because I was tortured for about 30 years of my life. When you want to do something, you must have a plan. We are all, I see myself as on a ship. We are all ships and we are out to sea. And if we do not have the coordinates of where we're going, it doesn't have to be the ultimate destination, just the next island to pick up the food and the stuff we need to keep going. We're just drifting. If we don't have a simple destination, we're just drifting, and we'll get lost and we'll never get anywhere. So for me, having a plan, having an organized plan, and like Goldie said, having people to help is everything.
Absolutely. And before we bring in this exciting panel, which, this is a fantastic group, we want to do a quick housekeeping note for those of you that may remember. We recently announced that our next televised event that will be available on Roku TV and Amazon Fire TV is coming up in February. So mark your calendars. We have Dr. Joe Vitale. We have Lisa Nichols, Sharon Lecter, some real incredible speakers. So mark your calendars, February 20th and 21st. And next week, we're going to be able to talk a little bit more about some of the exciting folks that will be joining us for that 2-day transformational event. And with that, let's go ahead and bring in this super awesome group of folks. Welcome, everybody, to the roundtable. It looks like we have people here from all around the world. So let's go ahead and start with the gentleman who I know has a lot to say about the subject matter, and that's Carlton Hoskins. So Carlton, how important is it for goal setting? Because I know you work with a lot of business owners. You work with a lot of people who come to you and say, hey, I want to do this in Q1. I want to do this in Q2. And I think that you're very qualified to talk about the subject matter. First of all, just give a brief introduction and your first thoughts and your first impressions on the importance of goal setting.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Carlton, and hello, Goldie, and everyone. Good to see you all. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. 2020 is gone. So the first goal we had was to get through 2020. Yay, we've done that. And hopefully no one has COVID. So we've done that successfully. First island reached, Carla. We've achieved that. So goals are absolutely unequivocally important, right? In fact, I had a young lady ask today on LinkedIn, I set goals in the last quarter of 2020 and I didn't make my goals. Should I beat myself up? Should I be worried about them? And I said, well, from a business perspective, the only reason why you beat yourself up over a goal is if you made a goal that didn't meet your metrics. In other words, you set a goal to climb Mount Everest in 30 seconds. That's kind of a subjective goal. There's no objectivity to that. So you set your boundaries too far, which are great, right? But Carla was saying at the intro, you have to get from one island to the next before you can make it all the way around the world. And if you set your goals that way, even in business, you'll achieve a lot more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Some real great points there. And we want to just keep the floor moving. So a gentleman who I know has talked a lot about goal setting on stages and the books that he's written, somebody who I know is also really qualified to talk about the subject matter is David. So David, first of all, just give a brief introduction for those that may not be familiar with your work and first impressions on this subject matter.
Sure. Yeah, a lot of people know me as the former CEO of Guerrilla Marketing. We do a lot now with publishing, publicity, and presentations. I think when we first met, I had my Beverly Hills PR company. But when I think of goals, I really think more in terms of power plays. And I kind of am a little bit controversial because I think most people should avoid the long-term goals and really focus more on what can you do in the next 4 to 8 weeks to get results or make money. And, you can write a book in 4 to 8 weeks. You can plan an event in 4 to 8 weeks. You can set up a perfect joint venture in 4 to 8 weeks. So I like pushing and forcing yourself to do more in less time. I have a little bit of the Venn diagram where we got these 3 circles all overlapping. And the 3 things for me in goals is, is it specific? You guys are mentioning that. That's really good. Has to be specific. Second, is there a deadline? It's not a real goal if there's not a deadline. And third, is it possible? And I know that's a little bit relative. Do you feel it's possible? Do other people feel it's possible? You're going to have to decide for yourself what you think is possible, but it's got to be possible. But if there is something specific and there's the deadline and it's possible, that's a goal. Now, if you make it really fast, that's a power play. And I love having 2 or 3 power plays at a time. And if you start making your power plays happen, that's when I think you're really going to move the needle, when you force yourself to do something big in a short amount of time.
Excellent distinction between just standard goal setting as we know them and power plays. I really resonate a lot with that, David. Let's go ahead to Alitalia, who is next up. Floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. Very, very excited to share and just listen and learn from all of you. So I have an event business. It's called Steer Pro, and I do full range events. And then I also just started a beauty business named Lusso Vitale, and it's my new baby. I started it in July of last year, and since then I've just really been doing my research, and I've been, like you said, David, making power plays to just keep the momentum. But I definitely agree. You can't. Let me see. There was this quote that said, "We overestimate what we can accomplish in one day, and we underestimate what we can accomplish in many days." And if you're a perfectionist like me, you want to get everything done right now, but that's just not realistic at all. So we just have to, chill sometimes and take a step back and realize that the steps that we are taking are actually massive, and that we don't always have to attain every single thing that we want in that moment.
Absolutely. I think that, as one of the great religions teach us, patience is virtue. And so I think it's important to remember that in goal setting, that things do take time. Let's go ahead right there in the middle to Miss Tarlise.
Hey there. So I want to kind of piggyback off what David said. So I am a certified stress management coach, and I help entrepreneurs drop their stress, get to the point and get things done quickly. And so one thing I do is every week I set my intentions. I have a set your intention Sunday. And so there are these little micro commitments that we are able to make to ourselves every single week. And you get that dopamine kick, you get excited, you feel like you're crossing things off. And so while you do have the longer month-long goals or 6-month goal, year-long goals, if you can just commit to every single week knocking something off of your list, it makes you feel good and you feel like you're accomplishing something. So every Sunday, I take an hour or two, sit down, plan out my week, how I want to nourish my body, how I want to nourish my mind, what I plan on doing to build my business, how I'm going to connect with my community. And I just have a list of things, and it feels so good to cross it off. And so every single week, I try to set those goals and targets, and then you can just pivot. You make a little pivot if you didn't do what you needed the week before, cross it off or move it to the next week. But it really does help, and you feel more accomplished than if you're setting these long-term goals. Those are still important, but I try to help people eliminate stress. And so that's one way that I can do it. We're like, just focus on the week ahead.
Absolutely. And I know a lot of entrepreneurs have had a stressful year, Tarly. So your work now more than ever before is really needed. Let's go ahead to a gentleman who I know has made a lot of videos about this subject matter. That's Suren. Suren, give a brief introduction and talk a little bit about this subject matter, because I know you're passionate about it. Well, Suren, unfortunately, we can't hear the magical gems that you're sharing because you are on mute. This is just one of the things that we've all done at least once in 2020, right? How many of us have talked not realizing we're on mute? It's become part of day-to-day life. So, Suren, while you're fixing that and getting off mute, let's go ahead to Alex Momeni. Alex, the floor is yours.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm okay.
Gentlemen, please don't fight. Please don't fight for the floor. We have time for both of you, okay? Please back off. We can all be friends. Go ahead, Alex, start, and then we'll go to Suren. Alex, floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mo. Good evening, everybody, and Happy New Year. My name is Alex Momeni. I'm an owner of Alex Studio in Southern California in Orange County. Also a realtor and a coach. As far as the goal settings, one thing that has worked for my team and I is to be specific, achievable, and enable. You gotta set a goal. You gotta be achievable. Set a time limit and a structure where you can also get that and have a time limit where you be able to manage that and be able to set that goal that you can go toward. Have something written down that you can sit every day, look forward to it, and whether it's yourself or your team, you look at it and you say, okay, where I'm at now, where do I want to be, what steps am I taking, and follow those steps along the way to be able to hit that goal for your timeline.
Absolutely. And let's go now to Suren. Go ahead. Floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. This is Suren Sapkota. I'm a realtor, entrepreneur, real estate investor. I'd like to thank you, Mo and Glody, for the great opportunity. You guys are doing tremendously job. I love Los Angeles Tribune. It's my hometown publication. Of course, it's a great publication. So I'm so excited. It's so important to have a passionate goal. You are very passionate what you're going to achieve in your life. Long-term goal, short-term goal, weekly, even daily goal. So the goal, something has to motivate you. Something you are excited. When you wake up, you cannot really wait to wake up and conquer that day. Something you are excited you're going to achieve in your life. So it's so important to have a daily goal. So that's how you can achieve the daily goal. It's like building the muscle. So once you achieve those daily goals, you can also achieve monthly goal, yearly goal, long-term goal. So important to have a lot of passion, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, a lot of positivity, and have a gratitude and enjoy the life. That way, not only you achieve the goal, you also feel good on that process of achieving those goals.
Nice, Suren. You're always putting out that positive content, making your videos. I get such a kick out of your stuff on LinkedIn, bro. You're just awesome. You too, yeah. Carlton, both of you. I'm looking forward to meeting and watching the other people that are here. But it's really, you put out great stuff.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
He really does, absolutely. And, I know you're wearing a hybrid hat, Carla, but I want to just bring you in on this just because I know this is something that you actually teach and you actually coach and you do a lot of work with Bob Proctor on your coaching and your teaching. And so I know that this is something that you're very passionate about. So I do want to kind of have you wear that hybrid hat for this show. So just touch up a little bit on this, Carla, before we keep the ball rolling.
Yeah, I would say, it feels so good to have, even Tarlise, you saying, and Surin, what you just said, daily goals. And even David, when you said specific goals, because even in therapy, I'm a therapist as well. And SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time bound. Those work in therapy as well as in anything in life. Be specific. If you are not specific at where you're going, for example, there was a really great story. This woman had this beautiful, big goal and dream she was sharing. I want to be the next Oprah in India, and I want to do this. And it was this beautiful, heartfelt, huge, goal. I call it like the Himalaya, Mount Everest goal. But she was missing the base camp goals. How are you going to get there? How are you going to get there? So the person was saying, that was beautiful, what you just said, but to me, that sounds like you're going west. You're just going west. A goal is, I'm going to 9000 West Sunset Boulevard. That's a goal, because you'll know when you get there. But you don't know when you're going west, because you can keep going west forever. When does west end? There's always a west, but 9000 Sunset Boulevard is a brick and mortar building, and you know when you get there. So when you're setting a goal, when you're going for something you really want, even if it's just for that day, to have a healthy lunch, to go for a 15-minute walk, to get active for the day, to achieve journaling for 5 days a week, be specific. And yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this distinction, because what we all know, guys, is a lot of us set goals. As an example, right now it's January. A lot of people watching this are saying, I want to lose weight, right? I want to lose weight this year, or I want to get in better shape, right? Now, Goldie is somebody that used to work in the professional wrestling industry and the professional, athletic entertainments. So you're also a certified trainer, and you've done a lot of stuff in that. So Goldie, as someone that knows what it takes to get in shape physically, what is it that you tell the people that are watching this, using that not only for the physical element, but also as a metaphor, financially, relationally, whatever the case may be? What is an example of a general goal versus a very specific action-oriented goal that people can start having to start the new year off right, so they can start shifting the way they look at goals?
Mo, there's so much that I could add to that. So I'm just going to tell you a quick little analogy or a metaphor, something that I use for weight loss or weight gain, muscle gain, or Mo and I are both content creators. We've got Carla over here, content creator. I'm sure some of you do content creation. Josh is a primary example right here. Josh Hinkle, ladies and gentlemen, of exactly what I'm going to say. Josh, listen. So put down whatever you're doing and listen to what I'm saying, bro. My favorite thing to tell people is go watch The Shawshank Redemption. Mo, do you guys remember The Shawshank Redemption?
Of course, it's a classic.
One of my favorite movies.
Let me tell you, when it comes to goals and whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's what David's saying with the power play, or Italia, you had some both of you have great points, but you're like on a seesaw. You're at different part. I love it because I'm right in the middle of what you both were saying and believe in. But Mo, my favorite part about The Shawshank Redemption is when he gets that Marilyn Monroe poster, and, spoiler alert, he gets the poster and everybody else in prison wants smokes or whatever they can get, their treats. He wants the poster because he's thinking every day, my goal is, Carla, to be free every day. And every day he goes in and chisels out just a little bit, puts it in his pockets, goes on the prison yard, empties it out until fast forward, he is free or he reaches his goal. And that movie and that point, I think of it all the time. If you're trying to lose weight, which I'm going to do after this, Mo, I have not worked out today. And so help me God, in front of everybody, I will do at least 20 minutes of no BS. Lift, take 30 seconds, lift, take 30 seconds. We all have 15 or 20 minutes a day. Please don't give me any crap and say, I don't have the money, or you got YouTube, you've got apps on your phone. My God, you could be amazing in 6 months. And the other thing is it's really easy to lose weight. It's called not eating a bunch of junk. It's not that hard. It'll save you money. Just don't eat a bunch of junk. It's not that hard. So the best thing that I can say is every day for your goal, whether it's weight loss or creating, is do it. And Mo, one more thing I was going to say, Carla, you've said many times to me, I'm new at this. I'm a newbie. And when you go look at any content creator that started out years ago on YouTube, they had no idea what they were doing, no camera, no lighting. Their stuff looked like garbage. But every day they put something out and held themselves accountable to be consistent. And the more you practice, the more consistency rolls out, the faster you'll get to your goal.
Yeah.
Incredible. And it's funny, I've seen that movie probably a dozen times and never thought in that context. Him getting that poster was a pivotal part of that movie. You're absolutely right, because he set it in motion at that point. And of course, Darren Hardy talks about the compound effect, how it's the small choices that we make that all add up and accumulate. So I see that David is nodding his head. I know that he has something to say on this subject matter. So let's go to him. And then folks, please, if you do have something to say it. Don't wait for myself or Goldie or Carla. Yeah. If you're inspired, if something's in your heart, share it with the world. But for now, David, the floor is yours.
Yeah, a couple quick things. Momentum is so important. You get just a few wins and it feels like everything is going in your favor and it gets exciting. You just want to do more and more, and the opposite is also true. We start adding up the losses. Oh, I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Oh, woe is me. And we start to lose the momentum. And so, what are the wins? What are the little things we can do as soon as we get up in the morning? What are the things we can do every day? I love the fact that Goldie is saying, hey, look, I'm not going to bed until I get this done. She wants those wins. And the more we get those wins, it just kind of becomes contagious, and that momentum becomes contagious. And to get those wins, I would also challenge everybody listening, find the things that really move the needle the most. I'm sure Goldie or anybody who's been involved in fitness or losing weight would agree, you're going to get more wins eating right than you are exercising. And I've seen people burn up a lot of energy trying to get out and work out and work out and work out, but then they don't get any wins by seeing any results. And so they lose momentum, where had they just spent all the energy and focus on changing the way they ate, they might have gotten some wins faster, and that might have been more exciting for them. And those good habits might have carried over. But to talk more about business, here's a couple really good goals for you out there that are easy wins. One, go out and get a really good testimonial, right? That's a great power play. You go out and get one client that is going to say amazing things about you. John Asseroff's been a client of mine. Paul Stanley of the band Kiss has been a client of mine. Larry King just did a blurb on a book for one of my clients. Getting just that one interaction or relationship or testimonial is a game changer for me that I can continue to leverage. So sit down and think about, hey, if this person was a client of mine, how much easier would it be to get other clients? If this person gave me a testimonial, I'm like, if I got a testimonial from Mo Rock, if I got in the Los Angeles Tribune, how powerful would it be for me to leverage something else? That's a really good goal. Another good goal is to get out and win and earn that award. There's some really cool awards out there. Another really good goal is to get a great before and after picture. If you are coaching somebody to lose weight, help somebody with that before picture, help them get the results and get that after picture, and think about the power of showing the world, hey, look, here's something I did for somebody. Before and after pictures work in real estate, they work in websites, they work in a lot of things. So, these are some very worthy goals that can be attained in a short amount of time that will really move the needle and give you momentum. Sometimes we go out and choose these monstrous goals that a few of you guys have brought up, and it can take 6 months and it can take a year, and we're not doing the little things. So these are some little power plays and specific goals to get that positive momentum that you can parlay into something else.
See, that's incredible, David, what you just shared, because you're giving action steps, right? And one thing that I've shared before on this program is we can talk about philosophy all day long, but if you don't actually apply it in your life, it's worthless. The fruit that you pull from a tree, if you can't eat that fruit, what use is it, right? And so I love how you're giving specific action steps, and what you and Goldie have both shared are action steps that don't cost anything, because that's a major excuse that a lot of people that are new in business or entrepreneurs have. have is, well, it's going to cost me. And it's very sad and unfortunate that a lot of people go there. That's the first place that entrepreneurs go. If you tell them to do something or you tell them you need to do something, there's this barrier, there's this mental blockage. But what's it going to cost me? And this is an unfortunate space that a lot of entrepreneurs are in, where they're looking for a problem immediately. And no one has ever accomplished anything by looking for problems. People accomplish things by looking for solutions. And so, David, thank you for sharing that. That's a very powerful little game-changing gem. Let's go to the middle, Tarlis, because I see you nodding a lot. So I know you also have a lot to say on this. I can just tell you're getting fired up. So the floor is yours.
Well, because you have to be realistic. There are some things that you have to give up. Like when you set goals, you're going to have to, give up some things. So if you're wanting to get healthy, you got to give up the bad food. If you want to, like Goldie said, sometimes you have to give up sleep or stay up late. Maybe you give up time with those that you love. There is a sacrifice when you're setting big, scary, audacious goals. And as long as you know that, and as long as you know it's a give and a take, and, if you want to go and do something new and hit these huge targets, you're going to have to take from somewhere else. And as long as you know that, as long as you're aware of it, I think that it is it's amazing because you can use that to your benefit. Yes, I'm not going to have the snack food right now, or yes, I'm not going to get as much sleep. But when I hit that target, when I hit that goal, it's going to be so much more worth it. And so I always tell my clients, look, you're going to have to make a little pivot. You're going to have to make some changes. But if you commit to it, the payoff and reward is so humongous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome. And I wanted to piggyback on what David was saying as well. And I think what you just said kind of summed up what I was going to say. It really goes to the mindset. When we set goals, if we're not really thinking about, I think Carla said it when we first started the conversation, if you don't know what that destination is, then your goal is unrealistic. So when you're setting a goal, Goldie led to this. If you're setting a goal, I want to lose weight. Now you have to stop before you set that goal and think about all of the parameters around that goal. What can I do to solve that? Do I need to slow down on eating chips? Do I need to, stay away from McDonald's once a week? Do I need to cut back on the coffee? Then do I need to go work out? Otherwise, again, I'm running in a circle. I become a hamster. Right? I'm eating the same garbage, and then I go do 10 push-ups a day, and I go, well, I'm working out. I'm going to get better. Well, no, that doesn't work that way. So the goal has to be realistic. So it has to change in the mindset first. So a person who's making the goal has to mentally really think about what goal they're setting and why. It leads back to the purpose of the goal, which is the long play, right? If you have a long-term goal, then you know why you're doing the goals in the first place. Then you can set these small incremental goals. Because if we just start setting small incremental goals and we don't have a destination, then we just keep setting small incremental goals and we still end up going west, Carla, and west just becomes forever west, right? And what do you do all your life? Well, I set goals every day. And how does that work out for you? It doesn't. I just set goals and I do these little bitty things and I do nothing at the end of the day.
Right.
So it has to make sense. At some point, we got to go, yeah, we need a big plan. We need a midterm plan. We need a short-term plan. And I love the phrase, the 10-week year. And at the end of those 10 weeks, what have I accomplished for the year? Right. And if I didn't do it right, then maybe I need to readjust my mindset, then readjust my goals.
Carlton, always with the gems.
Right. I resonate with that. Being an entrepreneur and really with anything in life, you definitely have to have a positive outlook on the things that you're trying to accomplish. An example, when starting my beauty business, I am not an expert on anything, but you don't have to be. You just have to start and you have to keep going. And to piggyback off of what Goldie was saying, you don't have to be this expert content creator. I'm my own content creator now. I don't have a photographer. I don't have models. I don't have any of this. I'm my own photographer. I'm my own model. I'm learning how to do all of these things. And, you just have to change the mindset from, oh, I don't want to do this. I wish I could hire somebody to do this, to, yeah, I can do this. And I'm going to learn something new. And when I am to that point where, okay, now I have the knowledge, then I can, set the big goal of hiring somebody else. But, you have to have the patience with yourself and the positivity within yourself to start first.
Absolutely.
like
To start
Dave.
first, the self-reliance is very important. And eventually, one thing that I have learned though is once you grow in business, it's not, it's not that you can't afford to hire people. It's that you can't afford not to hire people. So the delegation is also very important. But something that is that I noticed in the virtual auditorium, we want to thank all the people for leaving comments. Pierre said, "I feel like I have become smarter just by listening to you guys." Thank you very much for the comment. And he never ceases to amaze me. This man, I've known him for about 5 years, and I'm an admirer of the work that he does. But somehow he's able to multitask. Not only is he here with us as a panelist, he's also commenting on the show. And that's David Fagan, who said the why is always important. So I want to go to you, David, to talk about the why, because I think that's a very big thing. That's a very big thing, and I want your definition of what that means.
Well, we're all familiar with the why. There's been lots of books and talked about it, and I'm sure we can name some of the people that are most famous for it. But it is true. We can't do everything. So what is most important to you? What will mean the most to you? And Goldie was talking about, hey, I'm going to get in and do some exercise before I go to bed tonight. Well, there's all these things she could do. She's literally competing with her pillow, right? Is it the pillow or exercise or all these other things? So she's going to have to sit there and think about something that's really motivational to her to get her to do that. We all have to do that. So if it's something like, well, is it the difference between making a high 6 figures and making 7 figures? I don't know. If it's tough, I'm probably comfortable. But if it's something where, it's for your kids, you tell me you can't afford to come up with $100,000 to launch a business the way you want to launch it. Okay, fine. Your kid needs an operation for $100,000 and your child might die if it doesn't get that operation. You're probably going to come up with $100,000, right? The point being is that there are certain things to us that are anchored so deep inside our heart and souls that we're going to move heaven and earth. We're going to stay up late at night. We're going to work through the hours. And so, what is it? Does it really mean a lot to you? And I've got kind of an embarrassing story to give you an example here. When I ran cross country in high school, we had this amazing coach. And this coach came to me before my first race. And he said, all right, David, he's like, when you're running the race, he comes and sit next to me on this bus as we're driving to where we're going to run this race at. He says, when you're running, if you run hard, you're going to hurt and you're going to want to stop. So what are you going to think about when you hurt to keep you going? And so, of course, I'm a 15-year-old teenage boy, and I'm thinking about these things. And I think, oh, I want to impress my girlfriend, this girl I like. So when it really hurts, and I'm going to think about visualizing telling this girl that I won this race, right? This is the embarrassing part of the story here. So here I am, I'm running this race and I'm running hard and I take off fast. I'm not really pacing myself and I hurt. So I think about this and I realize it just doesn't really motivate me that much. There's not really much there, it's like, who cares if this girl thinks anymore, right? But this idea really stuck with me of this coach telling me, hey, what's your reason? What's going to push you? And I started thinking about my father, and my father couldn't come to a lot of my sporting events, and my father had to work really hard and sometimes 2 jobs. And I realized that the top couple winners of the race, they actually published in the newspaper. And I thought, man, how cool would it be if my father, saw my name in the newspaper, that his son, finished this race, that he won this race. And I started thinking about what that would mean. And in the next race, that was what I focused on. When I heard, I thought how bad I wanted my father to be proud of me, how I want him to have this. I knew he read the paper. I visualized him hanging up a clipping of the paper inside his cubicle, that his son had won this race. And when I heard, man, that really tapped me into something really depth, it really meant something to me. And I found this energy and I found this passion, I found this strength, and I actually won that race. And I didn't go on to win every race after that, but it was something that I could go to, that I could draw from. And that's really how I learned firsthand what it meant to kind of tap that inner strength and power of when there is something that is truly fulfilling and meaningful in our life, to anchor that goal, and so all of us have something like that. We just have to figure out what it is.
David, I want to say, actually, that's a great story, because one thing is, speaking of goal and going back to what Carlton was saying, we can set goals all day long, of what are we doing about it? How are you going to go after to achieve that goal? As I mean, I believe in faith and I believe in the positivity. At one moment mentioned earlier, you can think negative or you can positive. So if you think positive and you put it in your universe will bring that back for you. But if you say, I'm going to win this race and I'm going to do it by ABC, this is how specific I'm going to be. I'm going to win this. You're being positive about it. You putting it in your universe. You creating an action for it. You're not just saying that you're actually going to go. You're going to try out. You're going to practice. You're going to get up. So your actions and your practice, where you're going to reach that goal to it. So being positive, putting out in the universe, being specific, and one thing will lead to another. That's where the goal setting comes in. That's where the positivity comes in. And once you have celebrating those small wins, that's the celebrate the small wins. And I've told my previous teams a lot that, like, oh my gosh, today I didn't get it. I didn't sell anything. I didn't do anything. Or my photos came out bad. I'm like, dude, did you get one thing straight? Did one thing work? Yes. So that little one thing that worked, we're going to celebrate that win, because those little one is going to create the bigger picture. So we look at the bigger picture, but those little baby steps is the one's going to get us there. But the action is motivation is you got to put it in action to be able to get there. Not doing anything about it, sitting back is just nothing.
Yeah. I always want to give people credit, so I don't want to leave that segment without saying Simon Sinek. You know, Simon Sinek is the one who made the why the most famous, you know, the writing the book, the TED Talk speech. You know, he's the one who really coined that term and deserves kind of the credit for that. We hear a lot of people kicking around, so I don't want to leave that without giving him credit. But thank you, Alex, for that, and thank you, Mo, for giving me the chance to share that. And you guys are absolutely right. It is the little things we do every day. I didn't just show up and run the race and rely on my why. I still went to practice every day. I still ran every day. I still put in the time. I still put in the hours. And putting in the time and putting in the hours is what gives you the belief that you can do it in the moment. Because in that moment, you need to have a lot of faith in yourself and to be able to go back and say, I did the training. I didn't skip the training. I didn't skip the little steps. You know, I put in the time. That means something when it's time to show up. And we're talking about physical things, but the same thing applies giving your presentation. You know, so many of us are speakers, and, you know, a lot of times speakers, they kind of just show up and like, well, I love to speak, so I'll just wing it. Guys, professionals don't wing it. Okay. Yeah. You know, you want to look at professional athletes or professional musicians, they practice about 50 hours for every 1 hour they perform. Right? 50 to 1. Yet a lot of people in the business world, they think they're just going to show up and wing it. And it's like, you know, guys, be a professional. We got to practice more than we play.
Absolutely. And Alex and David, you guys bring up some great points as we're here at the halfway mark of the show. And, you know, we're going to talk a lot about positive thinking in the second half. And David, you talked about great points about being a speaker, and a lot of people, and that leads to something else we're going to get into, which is the purpose, living a purpose, because there's a lot of people that are doing things for the wrong reasons, right? There's a lot of people that are speakers, as an example, not because they have something to say, but because they're motivated by, you know, maybe some validation, or they're chasing the money, or whatever the case may be. David, I speak because I have something to say. Right? It's not for attention. It's not because I think it's a way to make a lot of money. But there's a lot of people that are doing things for the wrong reasons, and therefore they're never feeling fulfilled. So we're going to take a quick 1-minute break. And then when we come back, we're going to start the second half of the show. But in the meantime, let's take a quick 1-minute stretch break, and then we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune. Since 1886, our name has been a part of the world of journalism. We've earned a reputation for being a publication that practices integrity, authenticity, and responsibility. For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Okay, and welcome back, guys, to the second half of this week's inaugural episode of 2021. And let's go ahead and put Alex out of this, because I think he didn't realize he's out. So we're going to put him on timeout for a minute. We'll bring him back after 1 minute. On this show, we're very strict with our guests. If you cross the line, you go on timeout for 60 seconds. And then the second time, you're in timeout. Third time, you're off the show. So hopefully,
Oh,
let's bring
my.
him back. Alex, I think you're good.
Thank you, Mo. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Welcome back for the timeout. But no, here in the second half, Alex, you did a great job, of course,
My high school time. No, just kidding.
of actually getting the ball rolling to the subject matter that we want to talk about, which is positive thinking. And this distinction between positive thinking and action, because a lot of people, they visualize, they think, they have dream boards, they have vision boards, but they forget that you got to actually do something, right? And so I want to go to Tarlise to get the ball rolling on the subject matter, because I know she deals with a lot of entrepreneurs, and I know she deals with a lot of people that have a vision, but they're trying to put it in action. So Tarlise, the floor is yours to get the ball rolling on the subject matter.
I think one of the important things that a lot of people forget about is connecting yourself and aligning yourself with other positive people as well. There's a lot of people that are willing to complain at any moment of the day, people that are willing to, say your goals are dumb or not support you. And so it's important for you to have a positive mindset, but also be aware of who you're aligning yourself with. If you're constantly on your feet and noticing that you're feeling that weird, icky feeling, or that you're not happy, or that it's not bringing you joy, make a change. We are in control of our environment. And I think a lot of people forget that. And so one thing that I always tell people when they're complaining or when they're saying they're stressed out, I'm like, where is this stress coming from? Is it a family member? Is it your social media? Is it your friends? Is it your coworkers? If you can pinpoint where it's coming from, you can fix it. People say, well, I can't leave my family, or, I've been friends with this person for 20 years, XYZ, but you can become aware of the trigger and make those shifts yourself. So you can do some breathing or some meditation, or you can, get back into what is important to you and kind of tone that stuff out. So for me, I think it's important for me to keep a positive mindset, but also be very uber aware of what you're surrounding yourself with, because that affects you more than you realize.
Absolutely.
Oh, Tarlise, that was so amazing. That was dead on. And I saw Goldie with the scissors. She busted the scissors out. That is so true. I think that's one of the most important things that we have to do in setting a goal and finding our purpose, is being true to ourselves. Looking in the mirror and being confident that who we are, we're glad with who we are, and we're happy with who we are. Even if we want to be better than who we are, we're still happy with who we are, and just alleviate the world around you. Because at the end of the day, things are going to happen in the world that you can't control, and the world can't control you. So if you're happy with who you are and what you're doing, you're able to clearly set your purposes out without trying to align your purposes for someone else. And if you can set your own goals and your own purpose, then you can achieve them. But if you're doing it for someone else, you don't know what's in their mind. You don't know what they're thinking. I'm going to go back on the story when I was in the military, and we would always try to align with what our drill sergeants wanted. And we would say, okay, we know what they're going to want us to do tomorrow, so we're going to be ready for it. And we go out there and they do something completely different. And we was never ready. Oh, we're going to do a 3-mile walk, march. No, it turned into a 15-mile hike. Oh, we're going to go down to the range and fire weapons. No, we end up swimming across a lake with water moccasins in 30-degree weather. It's like, you can't be prepared for that. So we have to look inside. I think David said it well. He had to just dig inside and find what his true calling was and what made him motivated. It still wasn't his dad that motivated him. It was him that motivated him for his dad. It was a gift for his dad. And so at the end of the day, it was all about him. And my partner, Tayron Glover, who's not on the show tonight, but he always says, it's okay to be selfish. Because if you're selfish, then you can love others and you can do for others. But if you're not, then you become selfless. You can't help anybody that way.
Incredible gems. And, I'm a huge fan of the military. Even though I'm anti-war, I do love the military training. And in the military, if you don't set your goal, you die, right? And so if we as business owners woke up every morning with that mentality, how much more productive would we be? I want to go to the virtual auditorium real quick. Alitalia is a superstar in the virtual auditorium. People are sending her comments. Jim Williams says, this is incredible, inspirational, and educational. We've got Russell, who says, love the subject matter. And David Fagan, who generously has given everybody here a free spot at his upcoming mastermind. which I know a lot of people pay big bucks for. So here it says, align yourself with some good people at our next mastermind for free as Mo's guest. Thank you for the gesture, David. January 11th and 13th. So just real quick, talk a little bit about that, David, for the folks that might be interested in signing up.
Yeah, we generally have anywhere from 100 to 200 people that get on. You know, Mo, you've been to some of those. We have a main session where we're spotlighting people and doing things, you know, exactly like this. But then we throw everyone into breakout groups where there's, you know, 6 to 9 people, and they're all going around saying who they are and what they do. And it's just a great way to find new referral friends, find potential clients, find people that, you know, might be able to get you more exposure, people that have their own shows, people that have their own events. So we represent a lot of event producers and hosts and speakers and authors and experts. And so, you know, it's almost impossible for me to be connecting everyone all the time. I'm sure you have the same challenge, Mo. So just every couple months, we have these top talent JV events where I just facilitate all these introductions and breakout sessions so that, you know, people can do things. And I'll kind of tie this back to Tarlise, what she was saying, because I think we missed the bigger point that she was making. And that is, you know, who are we aligning ourselves with? Your goals can become drastically easier when you've got some really good people in your corner, just as your goals become drastically harder if you don't have very good people in your corner. So do we have lifters or leaners around us, right? Do we have people that are leaning on us and sucking the life out of us, and they're kind of negative and they're kind of hurting, so they kind of want you to hurt too, and misery loves company? Or are they lifters? They lift you up. They're doing good. They want you to do good. They want to support you. I'm telling you right now, if I've had any success at all, it's because the people I've surrounded myself with.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that, you know, there's not a time to reach out to somebody that needs me regardless of what they can do for me. But we've all heard that saying, right? We're the average success of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So who are you spending the most time with? Tarlise is pointing right to it. Who are you aligning with was the word she used. And that's so true. In 2021, you got to align yourself with good people. And if you were hurting in 2020, like so many people were, it's because you were isolated or you felt isolated. You know, if you want to have a good year, you've got to get out and talk to people, and you got to talk to the right kind of people. That's why we have these top talent events. That's why we're doing what you're doing right now, Mo. We can't be isolated at home. You've got to find people to interact with and align yourself with.
Absolutely. And, you know, you're only as strong, powerful, and successful as the people you choose to be around. And so I know Goldie has a lot to say about this subject matter, so the floor is yours.
I'm going to say what I have to say, Mo, and then I'm going to dip out. So I'll just crunch it all into one. I'm going to try to remember everything. But David made a couple of points before, and then Tarlise, don't put an A in there. There's no A in there, Tarlise. So connecting the dots, and then Mo, you know, everything that a lot of you learned it in kindergarten somewhere in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. I don't know, Mo. And everything I learned is in wrestling, in pro wrestling. So David, you made a really good point. You know, look for those people. Are they either weighing you down, or are you lifting them? Are they lifting you up? But something we don't always think about, and something in 2020, please tell me that's not me feeding back, for the love of God. Let's turn it down. 2020, were you lifting somebody else up? You know what I'm saying? And David, you know, you mentioned John Asseroff. I got so much out of having it all, his book. One of the things, because you guys are giving tangible nuggets on how to make that power move. You're giving us real stuff here, not just pie in the sky, blah, blah, blah. You're saying testimony. One of the things that John Asseroff always talked about was a mentor, or going and doing something for somebody who's doing better than you. And can I do your dry cleaning? Can I run errands? Can I get coffee for you so that you give me some knowledge? I can't pay you, but I can do something in exchange. Don't forget the power of that. And don't forget the power of, as creepy as it is. Okay. And I'm going to creep you all out. This is something that they used to do in wrestling. Need we talk about rats, Mo? Let's not do that.
Oh, I don't think they know what rats are.
They're groupies. We'll just call them groupies.
I know.
I had a crush on a pro wrestler, but he was taken. He was off the market. Meanwhile, another pro wrestler is coming over, barking up my tree all the time, saying to me, Goldie, he's off limits right now. Why don't you just go out with me until he's ready. It's called grooming. We all know what it is. Now, to decreep the grooming for 2021, be transparent. Say to somebody, you know what? I'm writing this book. I'm getting ready, and I'm going to need a foreword. I'm going to need a testimony, a testimonial, whatever you call it. You're going to need them to do something. Tell them about it. And then let them watch the next 3 to 6 months of you actually doing the work. But you can ask for it. You can be transparent. You can tell them, I'm going to groom you. So you know what, John Doe, Jane Doe, every couple of weeks, I'm going to pop up in your DMs and I'm going to ask you what you need. What can I do for you? What can I do to uplift you? So when you're transparent, things become not as creepy or not creepy at all. But I love the testimonial. That's a great gimmick, David. That's a wrestling term.
Absolutely. Yeah, for those that don't know, in the wrestling industry, there's a whole range of words that have their own language, one of which is rats, one of which is gimmick, one of which is work, one of which is shoot. And I know what those mean, but I know a lot of people don't know what those mean. But with that being said, I want to go to a few people that haven't talked for a while. Alitalia, Alex, Surin. Alitalia, where are you with this conversation so far? Let's go ahead and give you the floor so you can share what's on your mind.
I definitely agree with Tarlis that you have to surround yourself with people who are elevating with you. And you can't be afraid to shake those people who aren't. And it doesn't matter how long you've known someone. It doesn't matter if they're family. If they don't support you and if they don't have to understand your journey because it's yours. And, you know, Carlton, like what you were saying, you have to make yourself happy first. But you can realize the people around you that are cheering you on instead of putting doubts in your head. And so it is very, very important to find people that have the same goals or have the same mindset and that are willing to share their knowledge, willing to share their gems and not just keep it to themselves, because nobody can win by themselves. I hate the phrase self-made because no one is self-made at all. Like, we have to have a circle, and you can continue to expand that circle as long as you're willing to be open with, you know, who you are and, you know, what you're trying to achieve. I'm very happy that I have some great people on my side. I have accountability partners, which I also feel like is very important because, you know, just like you, Goldie, I also struggle with choosing between working out and my pillow and snacks. Snacks tend to win a lot over working out. So I have people, you know, personally and professionally that definitely help me stay on task and, you know, keep my goals. So yeah, that's what I feel. I mean,
Absolutely. Great points there. And you make such a great point that there's really no such thing as a self-made man or a self-made woman. I mean, it's so important for you to bring that up. And what I've noticed over the course of my life is I've seen a lot of people become very successful and they think that they did it all themselves and then everything crumbles very quickly. Right. It's funny because it's as if the universe, right, sort of sorts things out on its own. And, you know, but the people that stay humble, the people that maintain their relationships, the people that remember who helped them along the journey, they're the ones that have the long-term success. Let's go to Alex, who I know has a lot to say about the subject matter. Alex, the floor is yours. Okay, and that's
thank you. Networking. Now, one thing I want to mention. Okay. Networking is very important. I'll give you a specific example. Like with one of my sister. My sister at this time, she was working on her project and her work that she wanted to do. And I said, "Did you talk to somebody? Did you ask questions? What did you do?" And she goes, "I don't want to be nosy." I'm like, "It's not nosy. It's networking. You got to be able to be comfortable to ask for help. Be comfortable to ask questions with people so you can get the help that you need from it. It's not thinking being nosy is not. It's not the case. Is you're gonna network, and the way you network is you partner with somebody. You tell them your actions. You tell them what you're trying to do. You ask questions with them. You network with them, and that's how you create networks and joining whether things like this or any place that you go to be able to work with people. I mean, I don't look at it being nosy in any case or whatever. I like to know people. I like doing what's their network is. How did they achieve a goal? If they're successful, what have they taken? So as you guys are mentioning, what can I learn from them and then passing that on? If somebody needs help, what can I do to help them and motivate them? because if I gain experience, good and bad, from situations that I've been, how can I put that in somebody else's life? And once, at least for me, is when I see somebody's being achieved, they're moving up, that makes me feel good. It makes me positive. So this is how I've been build the business, the friendship, networking, is to be out there, be humble, be genuine in what you want to do, because what goes around comes around. I believe in karma. So being out there, network with people, being positive, lifting a hand, because again, you do good, it comes back to you, as you all know.
Thank you so much for all of that, Alex. We appreciate it. We only heard about 70% of what you said because of some Wi-Fi issues. So we have to do this. I'm sorry. You have to go on timeout again for a second time. But in the meantime, Suren, please go ahead and say what's on your mind. The floor is yours. Oh, Suren, you're on mute, my friend.
I'll go. I like what everybody's saying. I'm being a good girl down here. I'm not on mute. I was going to say, talk about gems we give, you guys. I study this book every day, Think and Grow Rich. I hope you could see it. There you go. This is the combination of what we've been talking about. Learning how to goal set. If you never have had this book, order it yesterday on Amazon. You can get it for less than $10, I'm sure. It is, if you are struggling or don't know how to find a purpose, a goal, momentum, persistence, setting goals. I did not know how to set goals for the longest time. I thought it was just for crazy people who were just like money hungry and like did way too much and they were just extra. But I was the person who would set those huge goals and just stare, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. But it was just too much. You can't do that. So if you're going to Mount Everest, you have to have base camp goals. And I was just writing notes. You guys are just all so brilliant. I can't wait to connect with you after this. We create and collaborate. We don't compete. We create. We don't compete. Amateurs compete. Amateurs compete. Professionals create and collaborate. So for me, that's just what came down. And I think, I don't know who said it, but accountability partners and masterminding. This book tells you about all of it. It's like the golden chalice right here. So Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. If you ever want to achieve any goal, entrepreneur, start anything, just in your life, gain wealth and health, relationships, anything, this is just what I go to. So accountability, mastermind group, you can just, get an alliance for free. It doesn't cost any money. So those are just my takeaways. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up the last few minutes of the show, we want to give everybody here time to say what's on their mind, time to say what's on their heart, and time to really share what they want to leave the audience with. So take as much time as you want, relatively speaking, not for 20, 30 minutes, but if you have something to say for 3 or 4 minutes, 2 minutes, go ahead and really just say whatever it is that you want to say as a final message here as we wrap this up. I want to actually go back to you, Goldie, because I want everyone here to give a final message. So just wrap up, Goldie. What's your final message for this week's episode and the subject?
So many great points made by so many beautiful people inside and out, as David said. For 2021, just a lesson my dad taught me as a little kid: ask. Mo, I asked you something today. Ask. You know what? The worst anyone can ever tell you is no and to go to. That's my point. Ask. Ask big. Ask people for help.
Absolutely. No, I love that. Absolutely. I mean, look, ask. There's no shame in asking, right? There's shame in not asking, if you ask me. No pun intended. Tarlise, floor is yours.
So one thing I've been saying lately is that, a lot of people are saying, what's going on with the pandemic and lockdown and all this stuff? And I've said it over and over, and I'll say it again. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. So use that to your advantage. When none of us know what's going to happen tomorrow, you can really create whatever it is that you want. So when you're inspired by this and you're listening to, these nuggets that everyone's giving here, go and take some sort of action on it. Like tonight, before you go to bed, do something, whether it's making notes for what you'll accomplish tomorrow, or reaching out and networking with someone else, or asking someone to be your accountability partner. Take one of the things that you've learned today and move forward with it. Because I'll tell you what, nothing's worse than being inspired in the moment going, I'll do that later. And then you forget about it. And so if you're worried about like, well, I don't really know what I want to do for 21, or I don't really have any, or 2021, I don't really have any goals right now. Well, that means that anything's possible. So sit down tonight, take a couple minutes or whenever you're listening to this and take some inspired action, because the momentum, as we've talked about over and over, that's what matters. And once you start going and once you start, making those micro commitments, as I talked about earlier, that's when the magic happens. So I wanted to just say that. Don't let any of this, go in one ear and out the other. Let's do something about it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tarlise. And it's a great reminder to actually do something. Having a vision board is great. Having positive thoughts is great. But you got to do something, folks. You have to actually get up and do something. If you stay home all day and just visualize, eventually, they're going to kick you out of your house. That's what's going to happen. So you actually have to do something and be active. And with that, let's go to Alitalia, who's been Alitalia, you've been a huge hit in the virtual auditorium. I hope you know. You've been a superstar. I mean, people have just been going, Google Gaga for you. So let's make all of your fans happy and go ahead and give you the floor.
I'll keep it real simple. You absolutely can. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to accomplish, you can. All you have to do is take the steps. You have to change your mindset, stay positive about it, and understand that you're able to do whatever you want. It doesn't matter what anyone else says. If you think it and, all the cliches, you can do it just one step at a time. Do your research and just eat it. Little by little,
Awesome. Thank you for that, Alitalia. And let's go next to Alex Momeni. Alex, we're all rooting for you. Everyone at home is watching. This is, because you've already had 2 strikes. We all want you to successfully do this. Unfortunately, if something happens, we do have to kick you off the show. But let's just go ahead and, cross our fingers. Floor is yours.
Sorry, I'm at a new studio with my hotspot. I'll keep it brief. Brainstorm, write 5 tasks, take the first step, get started.
You survived. Congratulations. Let's give him a round of applause. We don't have to kick him out. Good job, Alex. Let's go to Carla Elizondo.
Here I am. Okay. This is your homework, people. I want you to take 2 clean sheets of paper, put one line down the front to the top to the middle. So you have 4 quadrants. Write in each quadrant, love, relationships. The bottom, money, finance. 1, career, work. The other, what's the other one? Health and fitness. Write down your biggest fears, top 3 biggest fears in each of them. Fresh piece of paper, do the same thing. Write the polar opposites. Burn the old one. Reread the new one of all of your polar opposites in a positive way in each category 100 times every morning. That's your homework.
Awesome. And, the virtual auditorium, we have Lornalitz, I believe I pronounced that correctly, who's been very supportive of all of the folks, who agrees with what Alex said, and Pankaj Dayal, of course, likes what Carla said, and Tehran Glover, who is actually a alumni of Monday Night Live. And with that, we want to go now to Surin. And Surin, we're going to give you just a little bit extra time because last round you didn't have a chance to say your piece. So for a minute or two, go ahead and give your closing thoughts and anything else you want to leave us with. Floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mo, Godly, David, Tara Lee, Atalia, Alex, Carla. You guys spoke so well. Have a great goal. Have a passion. Set some emotional goal that will move you and take action. Nothing happens without action. You may visualize, you may do meditation, you may have a great intention, you may dream that private jet, maybe home or island, whatever. But if you don't take action, nothing gonna happen. It takes work. So, but if you have a passionate goals, a dream, some emotional reason, you will overcome that obstacle. That passion, that emotional passion. Maybe you're gonna provide best for your parents. You're gonna provide best education for your kids. I came from Nepal, so when I grew up, I didn't have electricity. I saw electricity, I was 12. So I had a dream to come United States or anywhere. When I saw the electricity, I was 12, I could not sleep whole night. I was dreaming one day I would live. So United States was very far. So I had a passion, I had a dream to live electricity or enjoy all the great things, maybe driving car, living in a nice house, coming to America. So my passion, my dream was bigger than fear. So your dreams should be bigger than your fear. And when you have that passion, that energy, intensity, you can overcome anything. So that will move you to take action. That I say, have a
Thank you.
passionate goal, have a
Yes.
great dream, something move you forward.
Thank you for sharing that. And you know, Surya, what you're talking about brings up the idea of gratitude and how, you know, you're here is a man who, at the age of 12, as a boy, the first time he experienced electricity was at the age of 12.
Yeah,
And
yes.
he's a positive human being who's not who doesn't wake up in the morning and say, why did this happen to me? Why did I have to grow up in poverty? Why did I have to grow up without plumbing, without electricity? Why did this happen to me? Instead, he's a family man who works every day to encourage and inspire other people and still has gratitude. And a lot of times, you know, what I see is there's people that have everything, but they're miserable. It doesn't matter what they have. There's always something to complain about. There's always someone that you know, they can point their finger to. There's always someone that's holding them down. And, you know, this is a disease, and it puts a person at a dis-ease when they live that way. So, Suren, thank you for being an inspiration, and thank you for giving us all that wonderful gift of your personal testimonial, your life testimonial, because gratitude is a very important thing that a lot of people need to remind themselves of. So, Carlton, let's go. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, let me get this right so I don't mess this up and I don't get him to go stand in the corner for 30 seconds because the show's about to be over. So I want to drop 3 jewels, and I want to give everyone 3 takeaways from tonight's show. And everyone who's out there listening on the show, Carla kind of inspired me to share a book. So I want to do that. I'm going to show you the 12-week year. Right, Brian Moran. If you haven't read this book, it's an awesome book. It shows you how to take the principles, all the principles of business, and break them down into components that you should achieve quarterly. Instead of saying at the end of one quarter, what do I do the next quarter? Literally at the end of the 12-week, that's the end of the year. Did you achieve your goals for the year, not for the quarter, anything like that? So awesome book, great motivational, helps you to write down your actionable steps and taking those steps. The second piece that I want to give you before I go away is that if you're a business owner and you're an entrepreneur out there, if you really, really want to grow your business and you want to build your dream, your purpose, and your why, then you have to identify the life cycle stage your business is in. Because if you don't know where your business is, you're going to be reaching into the wrong life cycle stages, trying to develop things on levels that you're not in. And if you don't achieve that, you're going to kick yourself in the butt thinking you did something wrong, when in fact, you're a 4-year-old trying to recite Shakespeare. You're out of your league. You need to come on back down and get your ABCs right. And so if you understand what those quadrants are and you break that down, it's a whole lot easier for you to achieve your goals. And so I'm going to leave those with 2 because Mo's shaking his head over there. I think I'm going in the corner, so I'm out.
No. I'm just reading this comment. Goldilocks said no one puts Carlton in the corner. So,
Thanks, Goldie.
Goldie, it was just a work, okay? Okay, let's go right in the middle to David Fagan. David, floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been great. You guys are all such experts, and just looking at the people that are messaging, you know, you've got an advanced group here. So let's get a little advanced. We're talking about doing. We're talking about taking action. There's so much to do. We don't have time to do everything. Just a real quick step back. Let me challenge you with something else first. What do you want to be this year? You know, sometimes thinking about what we want to be really helps us figure out more of what we need to do. Yep. Maybe this year you need to be strategic. Maybe this year you need to be a communicator. Maybe this year you need to be a leader. You know, maybe this year you need to be teachable, right? So, and that's kind of the one I'll leave you on, is not just in this year, but in this month. What are you going to do to be teachable, right? You know, where's the humility? Where's the ability to listen? Where's the ability to learn? Be a learner, right? Be a learner, be a student. And I'm thinking about that as I'm listening to all you guys. And, you know, somebody that I admire is Jack Canfield. I think a lot of us admire Jack Canfield. Every time I've seen Jack Canfield at an event, he is sitting in the audience taking notes. I'm thinking, why in the world is this guy sitting in the audience taking notes? I mean, how could there be anything that these people, these random speakers are saying that he doesn't already know? And I think that is it really attests to the being and doing. And I'll kind of wrap it up with this. We want to have one hand up, right? We got these mentors. We got one hand up. They're pulling us up. I've had some great mentors, right? But we also have one hand down, lifting somebody else up, right? So one hand up, one hand down. And I'll tell you what, you learn a lot from the people that are pulling you up. But man, do you learn a lot from the people you're pulling up? Because when you're pulling someone up and you're teaching them, you're going, man, I wish they would do this, or I wish they would do that. Have you ever stopped for a second and said, oh, dang, am I that guy? Am I that guy to the person above me that's trying to help me? Am I the slow learner? Am I the person who won't take action? Am I the person who thinks I know it all? Am I the person not listening? So ask yourself this, what do you need to be this year? And what do you need to be this month? Because we're not going to wait the whole year. When you have a year-long goal, a lot of us wait till the very last month and try to cram it all in. Let's say, what do we need to be in January? That way we cram it all in now. And once you get a few good ideas of what you need to be, strategic, a leader, a communicator, there's lots of things you could be, driven. Once you know what you need to be, maybe productive. I think that's a big one. We don't need to be busy. I want to be productive. Once you know what you want to be, then sit down and think, what do I need to do to be this? What do I need to do to be this? And to make sure you have that one person above you that can help you be that. And make sure you have that one person below you that you're helping be something, because that's where the magic happens. When do we learn the most? When we're teaching others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great points, David. And in fact, in closing, you've inspired my final thoughts for this evening. But before we do that, I want to quickly thank everyone in the virtual auditorium who's been leaving comments. Jim Williams, this program is so valuable. Thank you. Thank you, Jim Williams. Very interesting and unique name, Lorna Litz. It's a very cool name. What do you want to be this year? Quoting David Fagan. Tehran Glover, Los Angeles Tribune alumni. Our future patiently awaits for the now to arrive. We must get to it. Stay at it. Incredible, awesome words. David Fagan, Carla Elizondo. Again, we got some multitaskers here. I don't know how David and Carla are doing that. I'm pretty impressed. I have to be honest. I don't know if they have like 4 arms or what's going on, but both Carla and David are impressing me because I'm literally looking at them. And somehow they're able to leave all these comments. So more power to you, David and Carla. But with that being said, David, oh, there we go. Okay, got you. That's the secret. So, with that being said, David, you talk about the being, right? And what I want to do is I want to just leave a final thought, and that's stop focusing on the having, right? Because a lot of people are like, well, I want to have a Ferrari. I want to have a successful business. I want to have a relationship. I want to have this. I want to have that. Everyone has a long list of things that they want to have, but they don't have a long list of who they need to be, right? And so first you got to be, then you got to do, and then you will have. A lot of people start at that third step, right? You got to start at that first step. It's about who you are as a human being first and foremost. And then after that, first you be, then you do, and then you have. And hopefully there was someone out there that needed to hear that. And with that, I also want to thank all of you guys that have made this week possible here. All of the panelists, thank you guys for graciously sharing not only your time, your story, but your wisdom with people all around the world who needed to hear this, because it's been a challenging year, and 2020 was a challenging year for a lot of folks. Tarlise, that you've been dealing with a lot of people with your stress management. And, at the end of the day, it's up to us as leaders to do what's necessary, as David talked about, to uplift, right? To inspire and to change the world and to leave this world a better place than it was when we got here. So with that being said, thank you guys so much. I'm going to just give the final word of the program to close out to Carla to wrap things up, and then we're going to end the program for this week.
Oh my goodness, pressure, Mo. I would just say that I learned so much, just like what David said, to be a student. And Mo and I were having this conversation. We have to be teachable. We have to be humble and teachable. And I was finding myself when I was getting into this space, people would say something and I would be, I know. And I'm like, you're right. And it's through repetition of hearing something over and over and over again. We can't hear it enough. So when I hear it, I go, oh, you're so right. That's so good. And I soak it in instead of, Oh, I know, because when we say that, we automatically deflect it. So have an open mind, come with an empty rice bowl, be a student, take notes. Even if you've heard that class a million times, you will hear it with new ears because you're a new person. Hopefully, if you're always growing, you're a new person each day. Always show up, always take notes. There's no finish line ever.
Thank you for the final words, Carla. Thank you all so much. Let's give each other a round of applause. And this has been, of course, the first. Everyone is applauding except Alex. I'm sorry. That was your third strike. We had to kick him out. You know, here everyone's applauding. Alex is just standing there. What's going on, man? That was it. That was number 3. So a lot of people don't know this is also a game show, right? We want to see who can survive till the end. It's not just the leadership panel. With that being said, okay, we'll bring you back, Alex. So guys, this was this week's episode. Please stay tuned for next week's episode, as we have a lot of exciting things. Again, quick housekeeping note: if you have not already marked your calendars, please do so. February 20th and 21st, we're expecting over 100,000 people to tune in and watch us at this televised event that will be on Roku TV, as well as Amazon Fire Stick. But we're very excited about this, so mark your calendars. It's the Quantum Leap Forum. There are many, many, many speakers that you don't see on this flyer. Here's just a couple of them here. Joe Vitale, Lisa Nichols, of course, very well-known people. But with that being said, folks, thank you all so much. Until next week, this has been Monday Night Live.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
You're awesome.